When the modern followers of Ibn Abdul Wahhab are presented with his shocking takfiri views and his involvement with brutal massacres of Muslims, they have one of two reactions. They either claim that he's being misrepresented, or they claim that there's nothing wrong with his takfiri views and the brutal massacres. All the hardcore supporters of Ibn Abdul Wahhab have this same vibe. They're deeply confused and conflicted. For example, one of the common talking points of the Ibn Abdul Wahhab apologists is that if it weren't for Ibn Abdul Wahhab, all of Arabia would be covered in idols and the whole world pretty much would have regressed to abject paganism. This is simply false. Ibn Abdul Wahhab was only one of many revivalists that lived in the 18th century who advocated for stricter adherence to the Quran and Sunnah. These revivalists all opposed the practices of saint veneration and other innovations, and they worked to educate the Muslim masses in order to eliminate these beliefs and practices. The best example of this is Shah Waliullah ad-Dehlawi, who you may remember had one of the same teachers as Ibn Abdul Wahhab. Shah Waliullah strongly condemns istighatha. Realize that asking needs from the dead, even while recognizing that this is a means to having it fulfilled, is kufr. It must be avoided. This kalima, meaning the shahada, forbids it, and yet people today are engrossed in it. But even though Shah Waliullah thinks istighatha is kufr, he is not 100% certain due to the absence of a clear Quranic verse or a mutawatir hadith. He says, anyone who goes to the graves of saints for a need he requests of them, indeed he has committed a sin more grievous than murder and adultery. His likeness is not but like those who worship the creation or like those who call on Lat and Uzza for help. However, we do not state explicitly that he has disbelieved due to the absence of a text from the lawgiver in this specific matter. Anyone who assigns life to the dead and requests his needs from them, his heart is surely sinful, and this act is included in his statement, exalted is he, that is iniquity. What's ironic is that Ibn Abdul Wahhab would takfir Shah Waliullah for this view, because according to Ibn Abdul Wahhab's chain takfir principle, Shah Waliullah has not takfired the mushriks. Therefore, Shah Waliullah is himself a kafir apostate and his blood is halal. This is despite the fact that Shah Waliullah doesn't simply think istighatha is haram, he actually considers it to be shirk. But putting that aside, we see many scholars in that time period who were strongly opposed to istighatha, but unlike Ibn Abdul Wahhab, they didn't declare the whole ummah to be kafir mushrik and wage offensive jihad against them. That's a huge difference. Here is a brief list of other revivalists who lived in Ibn Abdul Wahhab's era and opposed saint veneration without takfiring the whole ummah like Ibn Abdul Wahhab did. The point of this list is not to say I agree with every opinion of every scholar here, but simply to point out that Ibn Abdul Wahhab didn't have a monopoly on opposing shirk and bid'ah.